you're going to experience the metaverse, you first have to create your avatar, which is like with standard faces or cartoon faces, which not other person can recognize. And then whatever you're buying over there as an NFT, it's not really, I mean, you're not sure that if you would be able to use the same in any other metaverse. So the interoperability, basically, that's a big problem right now in the metaverses, and that is needed to be addressed. So everything we own, whether we own our own avatar as an NFT or we own any other asset, say you're going to a metaverse to buy a branded jacket. So now you must have heard like H&M has opened a virtual store, and from there you can buy a digital clothes for your avatar. So if you are buying that, you would want to use it in other metaverses too, because you are going to be using hundreds of metaverse. You are having a business meet in one metaverse, and then you're suddenly jumping in another metaverse for a party. So all the assets which you are buying in different metaverses, you should be able to use it in other metaverses. So that kind of interoperability needs to come in place, and that needs to be solved. So that's I would say, like, it definitely we have just started seeing what are the possibilities now. Everyone, all the shiny brains, they are working on giving the solution to these kind of problems, and like we are solving this problem for the fashion side of business. I'm sure other people would be solving other areas.
I love what you're saying. Maybe one day there's going to be cross-chain metaverses and you can jump from one metaverse to the other. And I think, John, you're listening very carefully. Maybe you have something to add?
Yeah, I really agree with basically what was mentioned about how Metaverse isn't just like a single game or a single rule. It's about being able to be cross-platform and cross-chain even. So yeah, another thing that we're working on for Marinaverse, which is our B2C product, is that we're working on making it really tie into the real world, because how basically the data marketplace are creating, whenever a ship comes into the network and starts providing data to it, we're minting a mirror copy of the ship into the metaverse. And beyond that, it's basically the in-game performance of that NFT, of the game asset, is directly correlated to its eco-friendliness, its productivity, the productivity of the actual ship in the real world. So this adds that element of realism to it, element of unpredictabilities, and yeah, and what we believe is that we can use this to raise awareness of, I mean, in that case, by the Ministry of Climate Change, but yeah, this can be extended to other projects out there.
I love it, thank you. And I think, Craig, you had something to add? And by the way, I love your pen. I must give you compliments.
Why, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, to kind of go off of what Rakesh said, it's like it's not, there's not just one metaverse. Beyond common belief, Meta does not own the metaverse. That's like saying Meta owns the internet. I'm aware of platforms too that are where everybody's going to be able to build their own metaverse. It's going to be kind of small and only some capabilities, but eventually we're all going to be using it. It's going to be, I think, as synonymous as like having your own social media profile. It's going to be very, very similar. And in fact, in my world, like I think of the metaverse as like an extended social media presence. Except it's with avatars, and you're going to be able to do and interact a little deeper and a little bit more. Yeah.
I love it. So currently, all the metaverse is being dominated by independent creators, and big brands are still discovering what is out there. So Ignatius, what do you think? How the metaverse will change, establish, or maybe even die out when big brands will start coming in and it's going to become basically mainstream?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I don't think Metaverse is necessarily going to be dominated by like large corporations, and I think that is actually a perversion of Web 2. So, well, the original promise and the original vision of the internet was to create a level playing ground for everyone to transact and to communicate with one another on a peer-to-peer level without some central kind of like power rent-seeking players such as Google and Facebook like taking a share out of it. when people tend to conflate the internet with the web, and when like Web 2 came about and brought us the amazing thing that is now in social media, everyone jump onto the bandwagon. But really, when we look at it, we basically sold our privacy for some of the actions like the poking, and we don't really even do those things in real life, but like we decided that this is how we're going to interact with one another. And at what cost? We gave away our privacy. We became the products of those centralized rent-seeking feudalistic lords, and sold our data in package to advertisers. What I think Web3 and Metaverse promises is to give power back to the individual, allowing the individual full control as to their privacy, as to their own data, as to how they want to present themselves. So in real life, we can pretty much only do like 2-3 costume change a day. That's a little excessive already. Whereas in the Metaverse, you can basically change your shoes, your eyewear, your everything for every meeting. And I think the Metaverse occupied this niche. It's almost like when Starbucks first came about. So you have the home, you have the office, and then we needed a third place where we can meet with people. So Starbucks, like, people don't really go there to order coffee, at least I don't. Like, we go there to meet with people, we go there to walk. It creates kind of like a neutral place where meetings can happen, where, people can interact with one another, whereas Metaverse can do the same thing, because we, after 24 months of pandemic, we can really use like a more interactive way in our online presence, and Zoom is not going to cut it. So in a way, Metaverse promises this way that we can walk with one another, we can interact with one another in more of an impersonal level, and we are able to express ourselves with more dimensions, with more personalities through the use of NFT, through the use of Metaverse fashion. And even though it feels like some of those promises are still far away, but like there's just so much promise, and I think it's going to be the ideas that win out, not who has the biggest budget when it comes to mega corporations.
Awesome, thank you for sharing that. And I think so far we can agree that probably Metaverse is gonna stay and still gonna be an important part of all blockchain crypto community, but it will change and shift somehow in some different capacities, multi-metaverses, maybe Metaverse 2.0. But then let's talk NFTs. Everyone's talking NFTs, and they all started out as these simple pictures without any meaning, but then it becomes communities, it becomes tokens that have some kind of value. So Sajib, what do you think about NFTs and the future of them in the crypto?
Yeah, interestingly, whenever we think about Metaverse, I think we cannot think about Metaverse without thinking about NFTs. Like what Lokesh said, your avatar, which is going to represent you in the Metaverse. And the moment you talk about your avatar, the possibilities are unlimited. Like what he was talking about, the costumes or the gears, there are so many possibilities out there. Right now, maybe when we think about NFTs, most of the people think about pictures, paintings, and all those kinds of things. But I think the world is going to change in a completely different way, and there will be more interesting and useful methodologies which will be emerging in the NFT space when we adapt Metaverse. I really don't know whether Metaverse is something which is going to be adaptable to all industries. I really don't know, which needs to be explored more. But of course, the industry in which we are in, that is health and wellness, especially wellness, we see a huge possibility of Metaverse and also combined with NFT. I'll just give you a few, projects we are working on. We are working on something like, giving someone an experience of sitting in their home and doing a meditation, but at the same time they get the same experience as if they're doing it on the Himalayas. Or, they want to do a yoga, but at the same time, how about doing that yoga on the Hawaiian beaches? That's all possible in this space now. About when it comes to to that extent, technology team has come to an extent, they have found out some technology development which is already happening. When we were having the brainstorming session, that one of our team members was asking that, okay, fair enough, I want to meditate inside the middle of a jungle. I know that you can provide me a five-dimensional experience for that in the Metaverse using an XR glass. Now the question was, how about getting the fragrance of the woods, which is possible. That's very exciting because that technology has already come out. So that means it's a five senses, all senses can be easily being connected to the world, this metaverse. Now, coming to NFT, beyond the paintings or the different types of things, what's happening right now where people are looking at these things and saying that what is this yaar, is this really having some value? But I think in the NFT space also with Metaverse you're going to see that happening. Now think about that fragrance which I spoke about, which can be an NFT. Think about a recipe book which we are doing right now. Some people prepare health drinks which are secret recipe, which can be an NFT. Okay, and there is a very interesting project on which we're working in India. There are so many secret, the natural healing mechanisms. There's a research company which is already working on it, and they've got close to about 200,000 such secret healing, natural herbal-based healing mechanisms, out of which we are actually converting 100 into NFTs. So these are going to be where till this time, these healers were keeping it secret. Now that they can do it because they have the privacy, they have the coding, they have the encryption. They know that even if it is getting sold from one person to another person, still they can build in a royalty. So I think with the metaverse, the NFT space is going to be explosively growing.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to add about the NFT role in the future?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ragash. I really believe that NFTs are completely being miscategorized. NFTs are not just art. It's really, when you get down to it, it's software that artists get to create and develop. Because when you look deep into the NFT space, there's AI NFTs that are running around. There are NFTs that can interact with the real world, and I really believe that if you take a look at Ukraine released NFTs to raise money. So in a way, they're also a form of currency. So when you take all of that information and you apply it to the metaverse, there are a ton of things that haven't even been invented yet where NFTs will apply specifically to the metaverse. I believe that all of it is going to work together. Crypto, NFTs, and the metaverse are all going to be one in one, all part of the same thing. There are NFTs that that interact with the real world. So like there's an NFT, like let's say that you have a bunny that's sitting in front of like a rolling hills. Well, when the bunny smiles in the real world, the crypto market might be going up, or Bitcoin might be going up. When the bunny frowns, Bitcoin may be going down. If you imagine those things as just like pictures in the metaverse, they're almost like the only thing I can really compare it to is like a clock. Like if you know how to read it, you can understand what's going on in the other verse, the meat space, so to speak.
I love it. And then let's talk AI, big data, cloud, IoT. Do you think these technologies will take over after the metaverse and crypto space will maybe dominate it and there will have some kind of new things happening? What are your thoughts on that? Who has the most ideas about it? Let me pick Lakesh.
So definitely, like metaverses have now it's something wherein all the mature technologies have converged together, and to give that kind of experience. Like for example, if I talk about AI, I will be represented by my avatar. So what I would be saying, my avatar would be doing some kind of gestures based on what I'm talking. So now that is only possible with the AI if my speech is getting converted into gesture. What exactly I'm trying to say on my microphone, my avatar is actually doing the gestures according to it. If I'm talking something which is funny, my avatar is also smiling. If I'm talking something So it's all about like with what you are saying, your voice command is getting converted into some kind of gestures on your avatar. So AI has got a role over here. Similarly, the data kind of requirement which is required on the fly, that's where the big data comes in play. And cloud storage, definitely, it's like decentralized cloud storage is it's a demand at this point of time, wherein you can control over who can see your NFT content and how you want to control it, to whom you want to collaborate it. So that's where a decentralized cloud storage definitely plays a big role. And talking about IoT, it's something like I can see a massive implementation of IoT via metaverses. Like for example, I was talking to one of the factory. They wanted to create their virtual factory in the metaverse, wherein all the setup exactly how their factory is being set up. They wanted to establish in metaverse because they wanted to control the physical factory via the metaverse. Now, their basic example I'm telling you because you will be able to relate. Like for example, in the garment factory, you have so many machines working on, and a lot of automation is happening on those factories. If you want to change any parameter from the metaverse itself, you can make those alignment changes, and automatically in the physical factories that would be implemented. So that's where IoT is also something which is going to get a quite interesting role via metaverses.
John?
Also, just to add on, like the amount of data that we're producing as a species is like in the IT industry, in the tech industry, is increasing exponentially, and it's quite apt because as we're talking about NFTs, it's all about digital ownership, right? And right now, the ownership of the data that we're producing, like majority of it is being very centralized. Our big tech are capturing all the value that is being produced from it, like in terms of ad revenue, in terms of insights, data for training AI models. But what Web3 is bringing to the table is that we can look into, now we can start looking into how we can decentralize the value capture of this data, especially now that IoT is coming on board and chips are getting more and more ubiquitous. The microchips are all around in the edge computing space. But a lot of this, we're going to start to see a lot of marketplaces coming on board to distribute the value in a more equitable way.
Awesome. As we're running in the last 5 minutes, I want to do something different. I want to each one of you ask one question. Imagine you have to have your last investment. You have to make one investment into some new technology that you think is going to be the biggest one in crypto space within the next 5 years. What would you be investing in? Ignatius, I'm putting you on the spot here.
Technology. Well, personally, I'm very passionate about combating climate change. So definitely, like something like carbon capture or something that can directly help us with addressing this climate disaster. And I think like we have something similar to kind of like carbon credit, but I think that is not enough. Like one of the things that we see is maybe you're buying some carbon credit there, but the loggers can just cut down some trees elsewhere. This is maybe where blockchain and other technology can come in as well. You can monitor, you can really assess that just the progress of such work as well. And NFT is a lot about ownership and bragging rights, as well as they are tradable assets and potential financial instruments. And I think basically all the technologies that we just discussed could play a role, and we really should be thinking about addressing the tough problems, the biggest problems, because if we don't do it, then we're kicking the can down the road to our own peril.
Thank you very much. So climate change, basically NFTs, these are the two picks, correct? Lakesh, what about you?
I'm definitely doing it. It's not like I'm imagining. It's like I would be investing my time in developing experiential commerce in the metaverses. Like that's something, I think that's the only reason why everyone would want to go in a metaverse, otherwise there's no point. Today we are, just let's talk about 3 years back when there was no pandemic. So we used to hang out together with friends, families, those are the experiences which we all are missing at this point of time. And I think any industry which enables that kind of experience, wherein you are able to see yourself going with your friends for shopping, or you're going with them to watch a movie in Metaverse, or you are able to you want to go to several places which today you might not be able to go because of time or money, for whatever reasons. Now all these kind of experiences would be possible in Metaverse, and I think it's all about like working towards giving this experience to people, and that's why they would start living that life which they have been missing for such a long time. And especially everyone of us who are very far away, sitting in different geographies, but we want to connect together. So now that connection has to be built again, and I think Metaverse would do a fantastic, I mean, it's a blessing for the humanity. We all are like working towards building this digital human civilization, which is going to give us that experience, and it is going to fill that gap of missing that kind of connection with the individuals. So that's what is required to be enabled, and yeah.
So experiences for shopping, for entertainment, traveling to new places, and just living life to the fullest. I love it. Craig, what about you?
Well, you said in the next 5 years, right? So if you look at the trends in like Roblox, it's all the preteens that go into that metaverse, or you look at VR chat, you get all the teens in their early 20s that go into that metaverse. Personally, I would invest in a metaverse that's built on a decentralized internet, like 100%, because I think that's where it's all slowly leading towards. And so the only way currently is to invest in land, but I don't know that I would invest in land in a metaverse quite yet. I would come in and build my own company, probably something along what Rakesh just said, like along the shopping platform, because I think there's gonna be a lot of shopping done. There's gonna be a lot of interactions done. And if you know, I don't know if anybody has kids or like plays Roblox, but I know kids that ask their parents for $100 gift cards, $50 gift cards to go buy fashion, just so they can show off in front of their other 12-year-old friends. So I think that's definitely where this space is moving towards.
So we're also going with fashion, with lifestyle. Awesome. John, what about you?
I'm very much a proponent of climate impact and climate change as well, because I believe like in the next 5 years it's going to be very crucial for us to raise that awareness and help us to really visualize what key industries we want to impact as like even as consumers and retailers. So I very much I very much believe that the metaverse can be used as a tool for good to raise awareness for the things that have been under the radar. And yeah, so basically I put my money with projects that aren't very conventional and aren't like just doing whatever everyone else is doing, but basically delving into new concepts and new industries that the average consumer hasn't seen before.
So bringing awareness, showing different things. Okay, amazing. Sajid, last but not least.
We are already into the field of empowering people to take charge of their own health and well-being, so that they can live a long, productive, healthy years, contributing the best to the society. Now, that's our mission with which we work on the Limaverse. And I would rather say that I'll put all my energy, resources, everything into it to see that right now everyone knows that your first 25 years goes in education and all those things, and our next 25 years goes in gaining experience and expertise. So, and most of the people by that time get contracted with one or other lifestyle diseases. And the time you start contributing, you must have already lost your energy and you must have already been fatigued. So I would rather say our effort has been, and we wanted to put that effort forward in the world of Metaverse, primarily to extend that productive years for the next 25 years. That means from 50 to 75, how someone can be very productive, because that's the time they can contribute to the best. This is possible by bringing in absolute motivation and inspiration for people to stay healthy and which is possible in the metaverse, because if I can do exercise in my home, and today I feel like I'm doing it in the Gold Coast, and tomorrow I'm going to do it in the Hawaiian beach, and third day I'm going for a trekking in the Amazon forest. That's where I see the possibility, and that's where I'm going to put my energy and money into. And that's where I think that we're going to visualize the world where health really becomes wealth.
So health, longevity, wellness, I love it. And if I can add 2 cents of my own, or in a marketing agency, so I think one thing we'll definitely need is people and talent, because all of these amazing things what the panelists are saying, with you guys building audience, that's great, that's amazing. And proves probably these are going to be the people that are changing the world. But we need more hands, more resources, and education. Having more people definitely is going to be a priority to build whatever next is going to be big. So I think now our amazing panel is entitled to a big round of applause. Thank you, everyone.